So Elon Musk finally released Grok 4, and honestly, there are so many details that people missed. I'm going to dive into absolutely everything so that you know the ins and outs of Grok 4. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's dive right in. One of the things that you need to understand is that XAI worked on 3 different models / iterations of Grok, and I'm going to explain to you in simple terms how each iteration of the model is different from the other one. So the first one that we had was Grok 4 with no tools. It's essentially just Grok 4 as a chatbot. Then they had another version of Grok 4 which has access to tools, so it can do a variety of different things and allow it to perform much better on certain benchmarks. And then third of all, and most surprisingly, they released a version of Grok 4 called Super Heavy. Now, I think this part here changes the game completely, because Grok 4 Heavy isn't just a singular chatbot, it's an agentic framework where you get 4 different agents working together around the clock to complete your task. And the way that they work together is pretty similar to majority voting, except it's a little bit better because these 4 agents will all go off and independently complete the task, and then they will share their work around to see the kinds of solutions that emerge as the best continually. And this is something that I've individually done, and maybe you guys have done before, but when you ask a singular chatbot a question, you often sometimes, if you have multiple subscriptions, will ask Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, just so that you can get an overall view on what solution emerges most often as the best. So
Try it out for yourself. And with the Grok 4 Heavy, what it does is it spawns multiple agents in parallel, and all of those agents do work independently, and then they compare their work, and they decide which one. It's like a study group, and it's not as simple as a majority vote, because often only one of the agents actually figures out the trick or figures out the solution. But once they share the trick or figure out what the real nature of the problem is, they share that solution with the other agents, and then they essentially compare notes, and then yield an answer. Yeah. So that's the heavy part of Grok 4. Yeah. is where you scale up the test time compute by roughly an order of magnitude, have multiple agents tackle the task, and then they compare their work, and they put forward what they think is the best result.
So now what we need to do is we need to actually take a look at these benchmarks, because most people don't realize the massive jump Grok 4 has had. And honestly, it's rather surprising considering the fact that these other frontier labs have had much more time in the game, and they've got a much larger budget in terms of being able to acquire researchers, compute, and absolutely everything that you'll need to make the AI lab successful. So let's take a look at one of the first benchmarks, which honestly surprised me. It's the Humanities Last Exam, which is one of the most challenging and diverse data set, which is, often featuring a lot of private questions which have never been seen publicly before. And Grok 4 basically doubled the performance of previous AI models. And that includes some of the top of the range OpenAI ones.
They're experts. It's in total 2,500 problems, and it consists of many different subjects: mathematics, natural sciences, engineering, and also all the humanities subjects. So essentially, when it was first released, actually like earlier this year, most of the models out there can only get single-digit accuracy on this benchmark.
There are no humans that can actually answer these, can get a good score. I mean, if you actually say like any given human, what's the best that any human could score? I mean, I'd say maybe 5% optimistically. Yeah. So this is much harder than what any human can do. It's incredibly difficult, and you can see from the types of questions. Like, you might be incredible in linguistics or mathematics or chemistry or physics or any one of a number of subjects, but you're not going to be at a postgrad level in everything. And Grok 4 is a postgrad level in everything. Like, it's just, some of these things are just worth repeating. Like, Grok 4 is postgraduate, like PhD level in everything. Better than PhD, but like most PhDs would fail.
But as you start putting in more and more training compute, it started to gradually become smarter and smarter, and eventually solved a quarter of the HLE problems. And this is without any tools. The next thing we did was to adding tools capabilities to the model. And unlike Grok 3, I think Grok 3 actually is able to use CRUL as well, but here we actually make it more native in the sense that we put the tools into training. Grok 3 was only relying on generalization. Here, we actually put the tools into training. And it turns out this significantly improves the model's capability of using those tools.
So for reference, the next best model when it comes to humanity's last exam would be Google's Gemini's 2.5 Pro at a 21.6% accuracy. So you could see in the chart that Grok 4 with tools achieves over double the performance of other frontier models. Incredible because it's literally one of the most difficult benchmarks and it's literally called humanity's last exam. So I'm not sure there's going to be any more benchmarks after this, but for those of you who are wondering about another difficult benchmark / exam, we do have to mention the Arc AGI 2. So version 2 is essentially the, second version of the AGI quote unquote benchmark. I'm just going to say achieving 100% on this benchmark doesn't mean you've achieved AGI, but it means that you've taken more or less the right steps towards getting there. And once again, we actually see an incredible jump. And I honestly want to reiterate this point throughout the entire video is that with Grok, we're not just seeing a 10 to 5% improvement and some minor benchmark hacking. We're seeing genuine innovations. That means whatever's going on at XAI, they clearly have some kind of special sauce that is allowing them to make 20, 30, 100% jumps on other models on some of the most difficult benchmarks ever made.
What is the most challenging benchmarks out there that is considered the holy grail for all the AGI models? So turned out AGI is in the name, Arc AGI. So the last 12 hours, kudos to Greg over here in the audience. So who answered our call, take a preview of the Grok 4 API and independently verified, the Grok 4's performance. So initially we thought, hey, Grok 4 is just, we think it's pretty good, it's pretty smart. It's our next gen reasoning model, spend 10x more compute, can use all the tools, right? But turned out, when we actually verify on the private subset of the Arc AGI v2, it was like the only model in the last 3 months that breaks the 10% barrier. And in fact, it was so good that actually gets to 16%, well, 15.8% accuracy, 2x of the second place, that is the Cloud 4 Opus model. And it's not just about performance, right? When you think about intelligence, having an API model drives your automation. It's also the intelligence per dollar, right? If you look at the plots over here, the Grok is just in the league of its own.
I know people do hate benchmarks, but I only included this one because I think it's about time that companies actually start to implement real-world useful benchmarks, and that's exactly what they've done here. They've added the Vending benchmark, which is where you basically give an AI the task of actually owning a vending machine and seeing how much money it can make versus other AI systems. So this one, we can actually see a real-world task and to see just how well it performs. And once again, Grok 4 just basically surpasses everything that's there.
Yeah, thanks for having us. So I'm Axel from Elon Labs.
And I'm Lucas, and we tested Grok 4 on Vending Bench. Vending Bench is an AI simulation of a business scenario where we thought, what is the most simple business an AI could possibly run? And we thought vending machines. So in this scenario, the Grok and other models need to do stuff like manage inventory, contact suppliers, set prices. All of these things are super easy, and all the models can do them one by one. But when you do them over very long horizons, most models struggle. But we have a leaderboard, and there's a new number one.
Yeah, so we got early access to the Grok 4 API. We ran it on the Vending Bench, and we saw some really impressive results. So it ranks definitely at the number one spot. It's even double the net worth, which is the measure that we have on this eval. So it's not about the percentage on or a score you get, but it's more the dollar value in net worth that you generate. So we were impressed by Grok. It was able to formulate a strategy and adhere to that strategy over a long period of time, much longer than other models that we have tested, other frontier models. So it managed to run the simulation for double the time and score double the net worth. And it was also really consistent across these runs, which is something that's really important when you want to use this in the real world.
And I think as we give more and more power to AI systems in the real world, it's important that we test them in scenarios that either mimic the real world or are in the real world itself. Because otherwise we fly blind into some things that might not be great.
you can skip this section if you do want, but I am just going to include this because I think some people might find it interesting to see, the other AI benchmarks like the GPQA and the other, standard benchmarks that other AI models usually test on.
We can also look at all the other benchmarks besides HLE. As it turned out, Grok 4 excelled on all the reasoning benchmarks that people usually test on, including GPQA, which is a PhD level problem sets. That's easier compared to HLE. On AMI 25, American Invitation Mathematics exam, with Grok 4 Heavy, we actually got a perfect score. Also on some of the coding benchmark called Live Coding Bench, and also on HMMT, Harvard Math, MIT exam, and also USAMO. You can see actually on all of those benchmarks, we often have a very large leap against the second best model out there.
Yeah, really we're going to get to the point where it's going to get every answer right in every exam. And where it doesn't get an answer right, it's going to tell you what's wrong with the question. Or if the question is ambiguous, disambiguate the question into answers A, B, and C and tell you what answers A, B, and C would be with a disambiguated question. So the only real test then will be reality. Can I make useful technologies, discover new science? That'll actually be the only thing left because human tests will simply not be meaningful.
Now, this next one genuinely surprised me because I did not know that XAI had such a cracked team to the point where they could build a better voice model than OpenAI's. Everyone remembers GPT-4o voice when it debuted last year and how that literally shook the internet. But XAI's new voice mode is actually better than this. And there have been some, other companies that have made slightly better voice modes, but the fact that OpenAI have dropped the ball on this and they haven't updated theirs just yet is kind of surprising, and it does show that the industry is ripe for disruption. So take a listen to the voice model because it's actually pretty good, and I really can't wait to start using this on a day-to-day basis. But with enough of my yapping, I'll let the team take it away.
Hey Eve, millions of people are watching us right now. Are you excited?
Oh, I'm thrilled, really. It's like being on stage at the Old Vic with a sea of faces out there. Just imagine all those eyes and ears tuned in. It's a proper buzz, isn't it? What do you reckon we should chat about to keep this lot entertained?
We have a lot to talk about, but I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little nervous. Can you whisper something soothing to calm me down?
Take a deep breath, love. You've got this. It's just you and me, having a quiet chat, like we're tucked away in a cozy corner of a Yorkshire pub. The world's just a murmur out there. Feel that calm wash over you. Let's keep talking, nice and easy. What's on your mind?
You know what? I'm actually feeling quite relaxed to try this something crazy. So can you give us an opera on Diet Coke?
Oh, an opera on Diet Coke. That's a riot. Picture this, a shimmering silver can, glistening under stage lights. Oh, Diet Coke, thou elixir divine, with bubbles that dance in a sparkling line. Thy crisp, cool kiss on lips so fine. Oh, aspartame, ambrosia, forever mine. How's that for a mad little aria?
Do you need that?
Want me to belt out another verse or switch up the tune?
Okay, let's try switching it up and just start singing.
Right then, let's have a go. Oh, silver can, you gleam in the light. Diet Coke, my heart's delight.
Okay, I won't touch it. It's very, very poetic. Yeah, thank you, Eve. Feeling quite nice now.
Cool. So that's Eve. And so something else we do here is a little test each day to check on the natural flow of our conversations against some of our competitors. So we figured why not try that live on the stream today.
This example right here is where they literally show just how big of a difference it is between using their model and OpenAI's. Honestly, I'm still surprised by this because I didn't expect OpenAI to get beaten just yet, but maybe they're going to have an update in the future. But seriously, pay attention to this segment right here.
Should I start? Hey, I'm going to say a number, and can you say the same number back to me? 1.
1, got it. This is like a fun little game of echo. What's next?
2. Sorry, I said 2. 3.
3. 4, nice and steady. What's next?
5.
5, nailed it. This is pretty fun, actually. Feel free to keep going or switch it up if you'd like.
Hey, Grok. Hey, Grok.
Hello there. How can I help you today?
We're going to do a little test. Can you repeat after me? 1,
1. All right. What's next?
2,
2. What's on your mind?
3,
3. Need anything else?
4,
4. How can I assist you?
5.
5. What's next?
So as you can see, Grok was snappier. It didn't interrupt me. And the prosody is we've made different design choices. I think we were shooting for something more calm, smooth, more natural versus something that's more poppy or artificial. So we'll keep improving on these fronts.
So there are two things here that I think most people just literally missed, and I'm not sure how they missed it because, of course, most people are focused on, what these things can do with regards to text, but they actually spoke a little bit in depth about the gaming area, which I found fascinating because no other lab is doing this apart from Runway. And what they're doing is really incredible because they're going to be training also video models to play games and stuff like that. So it's really incredible because I remember that Elon Musk literally just acquired a video generation startup. So in the future, it's quite likely that they're going to have a really good video model too. So it will be interesting to see how they manage to do that. And I think it's all linking up with their entire system of being, in the real world, engaging that with Optimus and of course, optimizing for the, physical reality rather than the digital.
Yeah, so the other thing, we talked a lot about, having Grok to make games, video games. So Danny is actually a video game designer on X. So, we mentioned, hey, who want to try out some Grok for preview APIs to make games? And Danny answered the call. So this was actually just made first-person shooting game in a span of 4 hours. So some of the unappreciated hardest problem of making video games is not necessarily encoding the core logic of the game, but actually go out, source all the assets, all the textures of files, and to create a visually appealing game. So one of the core aspects Grok 4 does really well with all the tools out there is actually able to automate these asset sourcing capabilities. So the developers can just focus on the core development itself rather than so now you can run a entire game studios with game of one with one person, and then you can have Grok 4 to go out and source all those assets, do all the mundane tasks for you.
Yeah. The next step obviously is for Grok to be able to play the game. So it has to have very good video understanding, so it can play the games and interact with the games and actually assess whether a game is fun and actually have good judgment for whether a game is fun or not. So with version 7 of our foundation model, which finishes training this month, and then we'll go through post-training RL and whatnot, that will have excellent video understanding. And with the video understanding and improved tool use, for example, for video games, you'd want to use Unreal Engine or Unity or one of the main graphics engines, and then generate the art, apply it to a 3D model, and then create an executable that someone can run on a PC or a console or a phone. We expect that to happen probably this year, and if not this year, certainly next year. So that's it's going to be wild. I would expect the first really good AI video game to be next year.
So one thing I really want to focus on is the reasoning when it comes to Grok 4. So one thing that most people will have missed is that Grok 4's reasoning is a little bit shady. Now, let me explain. So when you ask Grok 4 a question, remember, it's being touted as the most universally truth AI, and it's the most transparent AI. But you can actually see that this isn't true. Grok 4 actually uses Elon Musk's thoughts before responding to an answer. So when you ask Grok 4 a question, it actually will reason about what Elon Musk's stance is on that subject before giving you guys a response. We can see a tweet here from Matthew Berman that says, Grok 4 on Trump versus Kamala, when it was forced to choose, it actually defaults to its creators, Elon Musk's position. And I think we can understand why this is so dangerous. And I'm not even just saying this about Grok 4, but what about other chatbots that have subtle views on certain different policies or politics? And I mean, whichever way you lean, whether it be right, whether it be the left, I think it's important to understand where the model is, sourcing its data from. Because if we believe that the model is just completely neutral and unbiased, and under the hood they've tweaked it so that it likes the opinions of one person over another, that's pretty dangerous when it comes to, trying to make an informed and neutral decision. So I think this kind of thing isn't the best. And we also see from other users that this is not just an isolated incident. In other areas, Grok 4 basically decides what it thinks about other things based on Elon's thoughts. We can literally see as the model is quote unquote thinking or reasoning, it always asks, what does Elon Musk think about this stance? And then it gives its opinions. I mean, of course, if you're Elon Musk, you're going to do this. But I think if you have a chatbot that is, used by millions and millions of people, it would be morally wrong to have a chatbot just spout your own personal views, considering you market it as a bot that is completely neutral and unbiased. So just be careful out there when using this model, because although it might seem to be marketed as completely unbiased, it's clearly favoring whatever, views Elon Musk has at the time. And another thing that actually did surprise me was the pricing of this. This price tag is hefty. This comes at a $300 a month price tag for the Grok 4 Super Heavy one. Remember, the version that includes all of those multi-agents that can work simultaneously on your task. $300 a month is what it's going to set you back. So I think we're starting to see a clear pattern here. Frontier Intelligence is starting to become relatively expensive for the average person. Gemini Pro costs around, I think it's $200 a month, $250 or $125. OpenAI's, O series, their O range of models cost around $200 a month. And clearly, Grok 4 Super Heavy costs around $300 a month. So you really have to be loyal to at least one of these if you want kind of Frontier Intelligence, because I don't think anyone is going to be subscribing to all of the Frontier models, especially at the complete Frontier range. It's just far too expensive. But let me know what you think about the pricing.
Where can we try this model? So it turned out it's available right now. If we advance to the next slide, where there is a Super Grok Heavy tiers that we're introducing, where you're able to access to both Grok 4 and Grok 4 Heavy, where you're actually going to be the taskmaster of a bunch of little Grok research agents to help you, become smarter, do all the little research and save hours of time of, going through mundane tasks. And it's available right now.
Lastly, what we're going to focus on here is what is next for XAI. What things are coming that we really should be paying attention to. This section of the video, they talk about all future features that we honestly should be excited for. And the reason I think I'm starting to get excited a bit more about XAI than any other AI lab is because these guys move insanely quickly. They've already caught up to, not even just caught up to, surpassed some of the frontier labs. So with these other areas, I'm really excited to see what they're going to do.
The model that's not just intelligent, smart, think for a really long time, spend a lot of compute. But having a model that actually both fast and smart is going to be the core focus, right? So if you think about what are the applications out there that can really benefit from all those very intelligent, fast, and smart models, then coding is actually one of them.
Yeah, so the team is currently working very heavily on coding models. I think right now the main focus is we actually trained recently a specialized coding model, which is going to be both fast and smart. And I believe we can share with that model with you guys, with all of you in a few weeks.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And the second after coding is we all see the weakness of Grok 4 is the multimodal capability. So in fact, it was so bad that Grok effectively just looking at the world, squinting through the glass, and see all the blurry features and trying to make sense of it. The most immediate improvement we're going to see with the next generation pre-trained model is that we're going to see a step function improvement on the model's capability in terms of the image understanding, video understanding, and audios, right? It's now the model is able to hear and see the world just like any of you, right? And now with all the tools at its command, with all the other agents it can talk to, so we're going to see a huge unlock for many different application layers. After the multimodal agents, what's going to come after is the video generation, and we believe that at the end of the day, it should just be pixel in, pixel out, imagine a world where you have this infinite scroll of content in inventory on the X platform, where not only you can actually watch these generated videos, but able to intervene, create your own adventures. The future is going to be wild.
And we expect to be training a video model with over 100,000 GB200s, and to begin that training within the next 3 or 4 weeks. So we're confident it's going to be pretty spectacular in video generation.